Good afternoon. This is Trish. I'm here today with Erma Wyse from Alma's Fashion Design. And Erma is a very talented fashion designer here in the New York area. She is extremely creative, talented beyond explanation. I've had the pleasure of sitting in on this young lady's many of her fashion shows, and I'm just always amazed at the quality of work, the ideas that she incorporates into these fashion shows. So I really wanted to have a conversation with her, and introduce her to the audience, and tell us a little bit about herself, and let's discuss a little behind her fashion design business, and end the segment with a taste of her fashion show, because I always find them just absolutely amazing. So, good afternoon and welcome.
Good afternoon, thank you.
Now, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and what Alma's Fashion Design is about.
I am from St. Vincent and the Grenadines in the Caribbean islands. Alma's Fashion was born when I was about 9 years old. I didn't have the name as yet, but I knew what I wanted to do because I grew up seeing my mother sewing all through the night, sometimes, most of the times. And what really inspired me is when I would see her with some fabric, and I would go to bed, and the next morning I get up, she had her dress hanging on the door. I'm like, how did she do that? So that's what made me, that gave me that, inspired me to want to do something like that too. Mm-hmm. And that's where I started.
So that activated your creative juices, if you will.
Totally.
Now, I absolutely love your design, and I don't have to sell you on that, because you know many of your pieces, and as well as many of your jewelry. Mm-hmm. So one of the things that I'm always amazed at with you have a lot on your plate. Mm-hmm. You have your studio, you teach, you have interns from FIT and places like that will come out to your studio and work with you. You're constantly putting on fashion shows, you have seasonal boutiques, and you're a person with a family. You have two wonderful boys, and a husband, and a home, and I just wonder, how do you do that? How do you keep that all together? How are you able to manage that enormous amount of things and still maintain your creative edge?
I have a wonderful husband that helps me with everything, almost everything. He can sew, but he would go and get the fabric. He would help in the home. He would pick up anything, and most of all, he makes sure I eat to give me that strength and that fuel to keep going. My husband is the force behind whatever I do, and I'm feeling so blessed to have him. Really.
Wonderful. All right, so I remember, first of all, let me say how we met at church quite accidentally. Yes. And in meeting at church, the relationship grew. We found out that we actually are related. Mm-hmm. But we've never known each other back home in St. Vincent, because I am also from St. Vincent. Now, you over the years, you're a very generous person. You would put on fashion shows for free just to help me with fundraisers, because for those of you who know me, I am known as Trish St. Hill, the writer, and I also do a lot of charitable things for the Caribbean, for children in the Caribbean, and so I have a lot of fundraisers. And I need entertainment, I need music, I need fashion, and so Miss Wyse here is able to, or I call her Erma, she is able to she would take weeks and sew these beautiful dresses and skirts and pants, beautiful clothing, and have an all-out amazing fashion show for my fundraising event. As a matter of fact, one of the clip that we're going to show them at the end is going to be from one of those fashion designs. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But I remember the last fashion show you did for me, for my fundraising event. I called her a little bit, just coming up on about 2 weeks before the fundraising event, and I said, "How is everything going? I just wanted to check in and see." And she said to me, "I'm just cutting stuff right now." And I said, "You're just cutting stuff?" And she said, no, it's fine. And I thought, either you're going to drive yourself crazy, or you're just going to stop calling her. And I was pleasantly surprised, because what I saw was, 2 weeks later, You had a ton of models, you had a ton of clothing, and you came out and put on a show like I could not believe. I was sitting in the audience, my mouth was like
Yeah.
absolutely blown away with the beautiful and like I said before, you really do things for everybody's size. You're not someone who just do something for large size or small size or medium. You have something for everyone. You're absolutely talented in
From
that
0
regard.
to 22.
Yes. So I must commend you for that. So everybody who was sitting in that audience, I think the reason that the crowd loved it that much is because there was something coming out for everything. So that we didn't have to feel like we didn't feel like we're in the audience and okay, that's gonna look good on this person and on that person, but there's nothing there for me. Okay. So I know firsthand what you're capable of doing. And you said to me that you don't really get help. You have some interns, but how is that not help? Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, my interns are usually there to help me with the online process, like the blogging and the Etsy shop that I have online. And sometimes they will take pictures for me and put it up online on Facebook and just that. Anything to do with sewing, it's me.
So the pieces, it's you. They're there
Yes,
to help
the
you, like
pieces
to
is
help
me.
you get it out.
Yeah, I
advertise it.
design and I cut them out and I make them, sew them up and everything. That's me. But
And one person does all that amount of clothes.
yes, just me. Just me.
Wow.
The reason why I don't like help is because sometimes someone will do something for me and didn't do it right. Didn't do it to my liking, so I had to take that all out and redo it. Take it all apart and redo it. So to save that double work, I just do everything myself.
Wow.
Yes.
Well, they say the best way to clone yourself is to teach someone else. So we hope that when your time comes to depart this art, that you would have imparted that stuff to somebody else, because that would be a great loss
Well,
to the fashion industry.
currently I'm doing that because I teach kids to sew. And I mentor children, young ladies, teenagers that's going into FIT who doing fashion design as a career. I mentor them. I've had kids that I've mentored over the years that went to FIT and came back out and is now working as fashion designers in the city. I currently have 2 kids in Fashion Institute of Technology in the city who went through my mentoring program and is now in the school doing getting their fashion design degree.
Wonderful. So now, why Alma's fashion design as opposed to Alma's fashion design? Because your name is Alma, so I would expect Alma's fashion design. How did Alma's fashion design come about?
Alma's fashion design came about from I was supposed to have a daughter, and the daughter's name was supposed to be Alma, which is part of my husband's name and part of my name. We didn't have that daughter, so we.
Because your husband is Alwyn.
My husband is Alwyn, and I'm Erma. So the first 2 letters from his name and the 2 last letters from my name, we put them together and we came up with Alma's. So because we didn't have a second child turned out to be a boy, said, okay, I'm gonna keep this name close to me. And when I started the business, I said, this is the name I'm gonna give my business, Alma's Fashion Design. So that's how that came about.
Okay. So I remember your pieces, like I said before, are very unique because I remember seeing things that look so similar. This poncho was very similar to, there were two, but when I examined them, there were quite a difference.
Mm-hmm.
So how are you able to stay fresh, bring out these unique pieces, and stay motivated?
I was blessed by being born in the islands. I'm from St. Vincent and the Grenadines, as you guys know. And I came from a valley. I was born and raised in a valley. And every day when I get up and I look out my window or look out the door or go outside, I see something different from what I saw the day before. So I'm very close to nature. I love the soil, I love plants, and I love things that grow.
Flowers, things like that.
Everything that grows, and I love colors. I'm a sucker for colors. And every time I look around, there's something new, something that I didn't see yesterday that I'm seeing today.
Mm-hmm.
So that drives me. And I learned from a very young age that nature it never stays the same. Things changes on a daily basis, on hourly basis. Like every second, something will change in life.
Okay.
So you don't have to have the same thing going through life all the time. Changes are good.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I come up with this.
These different things.
Don't have the same thing twice. I just do different things all the time.
Tell our viewers a little bit. Answer this question for me. Now, are you someone who, when you, that just have ideas that just pop into your head,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then you have to write them down, design them. Or are you someone who would look at a need or need to do something and say, wait, I must design something around this?
Mm-hmm.
Or both?
I would say both. Definitely both. There are times when I can see something in travels. I travel a lot. Every year I would go away like 2 or 3 times a year. Different conferences and stuff like that. And I would see things. I would say, okay, I can do that and I can do this. I can put this into fabric. I can put this into a piece of jewelry or something. Or I can come up with a theme and design a whole show around that theme.
Mm-hmm.
Based on the situation and the conditions at the time.
But at the other times when it just pops in your head, and what do you
At
do?
the other times when it just pops, most of the times when things pop into my head, I'm in bed. I'm sleeping. Most of the times I'm sleeping. I would get up my bed and just go to my studio, write things down. Sometimes I would pull designs, put it with my notes.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I even pull fabric. I have tons of fabric at home. I have a store there. And I can put everything together. I have these little baggies I put stuff in, and I leave it there,
Mm-hmm.
and with my note, and I know when time comes, I can go back to that little bag and just design that piece,
Mm-hmm.
or make it out.
Okay. Now, I remember you told me a story that you were on a plane,
Yes.
and you designed a poncho
Alright.
based on something you saw. Tell me a little bit about that story.
I was on a plane going to Atlanta to a conference, and I saw this lady with a blanket, and she had this blanket wrapped around her. She was like in a cocoon, and I'm like, yeah, that could be a poncho. I could make that into a poncho.
Mhm.
And I looked at her. At the time, I didn't have a phone with camera. I didn't. And I couldn't take a picture, and then it was too rude to take a picture anyway. So I looked at her all the way to Atlanta. And when I got there, she got off the plane, she put up a bag, and I went home and I made a poncho
Mhm.
based on that. And I think that's the poncho you bought.
Mhm. That's the one I bought. And you had you also gave me a little pouch that I could put my little tissues in. So that you know how you put tissues in your bag and it gets kind of cruddy and looks kind of dirty. So with this little pouch, you put your tissue, your little tissue in there, and it keeps it very nicely.
Yes,
So-
I saw this lady one time. She was traveling, we're in Florida actually, and she had all her stuff in her bag and the nail polish open and mess up her entire bag. And the tissues were the first thing she pulled out. And I'm like, maybe if she had that in something, it wouldn't be, that messed up.
Mhm.
So I created
Came
a
up with that.
little pouch for the tissues. They
Okay.
have them out there, but it's not the same. Mine would be different, of course.
Of course, of course. That's the thing about you. You always have something
Different.
different coming up. Because one of the things I noticed about you, I've been to many of your fashion shows, like I said earlier, and I keep saying to myself, okay, well, we're going to see some repeats at some time here, and we rarely see any repeats.
I never make the same.
I really don't really see it,
No.
you know. So I'm saying to myself, how does somebody become this continuous well of talent where you can just come up with things like that? And in your studio, you have a lot of machines. Now, tell us a little bit, why that many machines?
Each machine have a different function.
Mm-hmm.
Each machine have a different function. I will have machines for overlock. I have for the interlocking one that you use on the stretch, just stretch fabric. Nothing else but stretch. And they have the buttonhole machine. I have a machine for straight stitching. I have a machine for upholstery and home fashion and home designs when I'm doing pillows and heavy duty stuff. And I have machines that I teach with when the kids just use that machine. I have embroidery machines if I'm doing a design. One of my designs call for a particular design, and I can create that design on my machine and stitch it out. So that's what.
So that's the thing. You're able to keep. No, I mean I know you would know, but you know what machine is doing what, and how do you like line things up and just go from machine to machine?
Yes.
How do you do that?
When I'm doing a project, if I'm doing a show, I would have my machines. I clean them first. Change all the threads to the different colors that I'm using. I know I'm going to use a certain amount of stretch material. I'll lay all the threads out and put them next to that machine and thread them up. So when I'm ready to use that machine, I'll go to that machine and I'll just do my knits. And then I'll do the buttons on the buttonhole machine. And then I, just keep going. Overlock here. I have 3 overlock machines. I have one in red, one in black, all the basic colors. One in black, one thread up in white, and one is for changing different colors. So if I'm doing something white, I don't have to go and change that white I have a machine already threading white. If I'm doing black, I have the machine already threading black. So I just go from machine to machine. And if I'm doing a different color, then I have that one machine where I can just go in and change the colors and just keep going.
Well, one of the things that amazed me, that I was amazed at when you did that last fashion show that we're about to see later, is you have themes. You mentioned, and I know about those themes because you said we want to come up with a theme, and we settled on colors of our nation. Because I'm also from the island of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and over the years our country changed flags, the colors. It was actually red, white and blue at one point. It was different colors. So we decided to come up with colors of our nation, and that was the theme of that fashion show. And why do you have themes? What does having a theme do for you?
For me, having a theme is planning, and it tells a story. When I do a theme, when I do my shows and I created a theme, it tells, you can look at that show and read what it's saying to you. That's why I really do work with themes. I explain myself in my work, and when you look at it, you can see the story unfolding in the theme that I put out into it.
Well, I guess you're saying it's sort of like a format, like a template.
Yes.
Kind of help you.
So something
like that.
Yes.
Now, tell us a little bit about how can people get a hold of your design. So tell us a little, as we're getting ready to go to the fashion show section. We wanna hear a little bit about how can people get your things to buy. One of the things before you answer that question, I love your humbleness. You would come to these fashion shows and you're in the back and you're getting the girls lined up and you're telling everybody what to do in the back. We in the audience waiting for this. We don't see this. But you might have been walking around all day and people saw you in the lobby or what have you. And when you come out and bow as the person, the designer, everybody's usually shocked because you really just really nice little bow and very much humble. So I think that's what makes people even more amazed because they're looking for somebody flamboyant, and there's this very humble lady who's just oozing with talent.
Right.
So tell us, where can we get some of those things to buy?
My items, all of my items are on Etsy, and Etsy, Alma's Fashion at Etsy.com, and I'm also on Facebook. I'm on Pinterest, I'm on Tumblr, I'm on, that's it, pretty much.
That's it.
Yeah.
So how do you spell the?
Alma's Fashion. The reason, there's a little story behind Alma's Fashion. When I first created that Alma's Fashion, someone else had that name. The way it was spelled, someone else had that name, so I had to go back in and change it. So you have to put Alma's with uppercase A and Fashion with uppercase F, but you have to put it as one word, one long word.
So the
Alma's
story, you mean the story of it, the way it is on Etsy.
Fashion. Yes.
And what is the phone number if someone wants to call you up, they see something they like and they say, listen, I love that in blue, I love that in red. Tell the viewing audience, how can
Yes.
someone order something from you?
My number is 516-561-2646 or 516-659-4840.
Repeat this.
I'm located in Valley Stream, Long Island. My number again is 516-561-2646 or 516-659-4840. And I'm
again,
located in Valley Stream.
And again,
And the
Alma,
business is Alma's Fashion at Etsy.com.
Alma with an uppercase A, fashion with an uppercase F as one word.
Yes.
Fashion design.
Yes.
Okay, so we really want to thank you for coming to sit with us today and really doing this beautiful interview. Because I got to ask you some questions. Even in our conversations, I really never, you're always so busy, I don't get a chance to ask you some of the things I wanted. And I really wanted to share with the audience, this amazing talent that we have. Again, it's Alma's
Once
with an
again,
uppercase A,
yes,
a fashion, uppercase F as one word, Alma's Fashion.
at etsy.com. Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. Well, we
Thank
enjoy having you with us this evening, and I know the audience is going to really appreciate everything
Nice
that
being here.
you've
Thank
explained to
you.
us. Thank you
Yes.
so much.
Thank you.